Hello, everyone. I want to talk to you today about how to make more money as a family childcare provider, or even if you have a center. All right. So, one of the things that a lot of childcare providers talk about is not having enough money, or not having the extra money in their businesses. And when you run a business, you have to look at the financial picture, and you may need to create some really good, unique ways of adding more income to your already um, your income. And so a lot of the things that I do is very important to increasing my business, and have taken my business from making such a small amount of money to increasing it to a salary that I really like and I really can use. All right, so I'm going to identify 10 ways to create more income in your family childcare business. All right, so let's get started. So, one of the ways that you can increase your business is to charge fees, late fees, a registration fee, a technology fee, accreditation fee, check fees, return check fees. And so, a lot of these fees you all are not charging. Um, and they really make a big difference because it costs money. If someone's check does not go through, then you have to eat that cost of that check. All right, and then registration fee is very, very important, because you have to process that paperwork. You have to go through the necessary steps of creating a curriculum. Let's say if you are accredited, and so these fees become very, very important, and also late fees. So remember, we are not babysitters, we are business owners. And so late fees are something that's very important when you have a business. You are not there to care for the child 24/7 unless that is the contract agreement that you have made. And so some of these late fees are now eating into your time after your business closes. And so you may want to think about that in your business. All right, so number two, you may want to charge fees for extra services. So I know a lot of family child care providers wash clothes, they may take the child to an appointment, and they may do some other things as well. Um, and some parents don't mind that you do that. And so there is definitely going to be an extra fee for that. All right, so the food program. The food program is very, very important. And what the program does, it provides you with a money that will help you offset the cost of your grocery bill. And so remember, in family childcare businesses, we are feeding the children breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and even sometimes an evening snack. And so becoming a part of the food program is very, very important so that you can get income each month that will offset the cost of that grocery bill. And it makes a huge difference. It's not 100%, but that money really helps and it really counts. All right, number five, grants. Oh no, number four. Sorry. Number four, grants. Take advantage of the grants that come up in your resource and referral agencies, or you can do your own research and find grants that will be suitable for your family childcare business. Remember, the grants is money, it's not considered income. And so this is money that you don't have to pay back. And a lot of times these grants are from 500 to 2,000 or more. dollars. And so you want to look into that and take advantage of that. Increase your tuition each year. So what I did was I went from charging a fee to charging tuition. Now, the difference in the two is that a fee is just maybe like a one-time cost for something. A tuition is ongoing. And so tuition is based on your contracts and your policies to when the child is not there, the parents are still paying um, because they're paying for a service. And so you may want to go to a tuition-based collection of your money. Number 6, charge for enrichment programs. A lot of programs have yoga classes, art classes, language classes, cooking, and lots of other different activities, karate. And so you may want to bring in someone to teach those different classes, and the parents will like that because it's right at your place, and it can be done during the time that you are caring for them. And so you may have a time where somebody comes in and does yoga, somebody comes in and does the art, and that is an extra fee that parents can pay for, and they'll appreciate that because they don't have to take them from place to place all the time. They can get that special activity right there in your child care center. All right, limit the discounts and credits that you give. I know that we like to give credit or discounts if somebody has a sibling or if it's a family, and those things are okay. But what it does is it creates a decrease in your income. And so the way that you would like to care for the children, a lot of times you don't have enough money because you're offering these discounts. And so you may want to try something else instead of that. And so that way you're getting your full pay for servicing those children. All right, next are fundraisers. Now, fundraisers are a lot of fun, and you can do all types of things to create money for your family childcare business by doing fundraisers. And what I do is I have an event calendar, and I divvy out to my parents. They can be a leader in doing fundraisers, and they can form a committee. And so that way they are really participating in getting that money generated for your childcare business. All right. And if you have the space, you can rent space at your building. A lot of times, a lot of these centers will do birthday parties or some type of special event that the parents can pay for. It's a safe place. They know that space already, and so they will be willing to have a birthday party there. You can also develop a drop-in system, and sometimes we don't want to do drop-ins depending on the number of children that you have. You don't just want to be overcrowded with drop-ins. And so sometimes a parent may not need a full service. They may need a couple days a week for a couple of hours. And so you might want to consider that and then charge that parent accordingly for that drop-in service. Okay? So these are just a few of the things that you can do to increase your income as a child care provider. So I don't know what else could we do. I know that you all have a lot of ideas. So put them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe so you can get a lot of good information, a lot of business information on your child care. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, so let's take a look at the hiring process that I go through. All right, so I love this book, The Ultimate Childcare Staffing Guide by Jessica Johnson, and she really outlines a lot of things that in a childcare setting you would be looking for when you're hiring. And so she has two parts here. She has the hiring and training, and each part has its own chapter. Why will employees want to work for you? Where to find qualified employees, how to attract A players, the interview process, onboarding and training, and then staff retention. Lay the foundation for keeping great employees, transparency, relationships, underlying values, systems and strategy, training, and when to let go. And then she has two things in her Appendix A and Appendix B, and I love these because she has created questions for you that you can ask in your interview process. And then in her Appendix B, she outlines a plan that will help you to for your 90-day staff retention plan. And it's nice. Immediately hiring, day 1, week 1, week 2, the 90-day review. All of those things are very, very important when you are hiring your staff. And then she has a DVD here, the staff solution, hire, onboard, and train your A+ team. And this is an excellent video as a companion to this Ultimate Childcare Staffing Guide. And so, as I said, when you are hiring someone, you want to make sure that they agree with and believe in your mission and your vision. And so the hiring process is so very important in your business. And another thing that you want to do is, once you have hired your staff, you want to make sure that they are watching videos or some type of training process outside of your childcare business, but also inside. And so I have these videos here that I have my staff to watch. Classroom moments and facing the challenge, working with children who use challenging behaviors. And then there's a disc 1 and a disc 2 for this one. And what I like about these videos is that these are real scenarios in the different classrooms. And so you'll see when you watch these videos, the teachers and how they actually deal with different behaviors. And I like that so that you can actually get an understanding of a classroom setting. You can get a sense of the environment, how the children behave, and how the teacher behaves. And so I also have one here, first steps supporting early language development and highly successful strategies to guide young children's behavior. You'll see here trainer vision, language literacy, focus on toddlers, and then language literacy, focus on pre-K and kindergarten. And then there's another one, toddler behavior and development at home with parents. And so, like I said, a lot of these, I love these because they are excellent in showing the scenarios in real life situations. And the ones that you saw that we're talking about being at home, or showing parents in their own environment and how they deal with different behavioral challenges. And what you're going to see here is kind of a theme. And so the behavior is not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to learn how to deal with some of those little personalities that come with you. And you want to make sure that your staff is equipped to deal with a lot of these things. A lot of what you see are just normal behaviors, but they can manifest themselves into something else if your staff does not know how to deal with it. And so I also have a staff binder. And in my binder, the first thing that the staff will see are my privacy policies. And you want to have a privacy policy so that staff will know what they can do and cannot do. And this is for protection for the families. And then I have my initial hiring, things to know, forms to fill out, mandatory trainings within the 90 days of hiring. And I also have my first 90 days as well. And then I go on to talk about just some different procedures, diapering and hand washing. And I also talk about, and these are the different steps for washing hands, diapering. And so all these things become very, very important when you are hiring a childcare staff. I also show them and train them in filling out the accident and injury to a child report. And so that becomes important as well. And so you want to make sure you have all these things in your binder so that your staff can see them and know what to expect and what your policies are in terms of them. And then my employee timesheet, I have an example of that, an example of my new employee application, and yours may be something very different, but this is something that I have. And then what you want to do is create a staff handbook. I know we talked about creating a parent handbook, but you want a staff handbook as well. And it will be similar in that you are discussing your policies, but you'll be talking about things like your history, your mission, your philosophy, the initial hiring. You'll be talking about attendance, the health and safety policies, curriculum planning, arrival and departure. And you also want to have in there about parent relationships, community resources, and all different types of things. And so this is a very thick document. This is about 72 pages. And so a lot of handbooks for staff are very meaty and include a lot of information. So what you want to do is a lot of staff, they're not going to read all of this at one time. And so you may want to develop what I do is called an email campaign. And an email campaign for my staff means that I'll take bits and pieces of my handbook and I will email it to them, maybe with questions or maybe with a video or something like that, that will explain a lot of what's in the handbook. And so that way they can understand it a little bit better when it's sent to them in smaller chunks. Okay. And so what I also do with the emergency, with my staff handbook, is I include my emergency plan. And so your emergency plan is very important because they need to know what their responsibility is in terms of dealing with an emergency. And so all of these things become very important. Bomb threat, anything. Okay, how to deal with a pandemic. So all of these things are in here. And then information on the curriculum that I use. I use GWIS Education, and so they're going to have the developmental stages here. And then I have what their role is, what the standards are. And so your staff, they need to know all of this information and just their role. Make sure you give them as much information as possible. And you want to also review these with them. So you may want to have staff meetings, and especially when you first hire someone, you want to make sure that they are implementing your policies and your procedures. And then you want to make sure they have a calendar of your closings. And then the different training. Make sure you put your training information in here. One of the things we have to do are the first aid, CPR, child development. And so I have our training book in here. And so they'll know the dates and an explanation of what the training is about, what time. Okay, and here are my emergency procedures. And so the procedures outline exactly what to do. And so they need to know that if something happens, how to call 911, when to call 911, all that's important. And then what I also do in this staff handbook is I put in my parent handbook. And so that they'll have an understanding of what my policies and procedures are for my parents too. Okay, and like I said, create perhaps an email campaign or little videos that you can send to your staff so that they'll know what's going on. And this is information on my mentoring program. So I have a mentoring program for girls who are 16 to 18, and this outlines what I have for them as well. So which is similar. They normally come on as assistants, and it's really a good way of having them have a mentor to teach them if they want to be in the early childhood education program, or they want to go on to be teachers, or whatever the case may be. So you want to make sure that you equip your staff so that they will know what your business is all about. And then the last thing that I have is just a notebook. And as you can see, it says reflective journal. And a reflective journal is something that you want your staff to keep. And there are certain questions that I may ask and that they can put in their reflective journal. Or the questions could be a guide as to how they can sort of reflect on some of the things that they were doing that day, what they may do differently, maybe what action they would have taken. So you want to make sure that your staff knows exactly what your expectations are, and also that they understand and they have a clear direction of your goals and your mission and your vision for your business. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Whatever you're doing in your childcare to help with your staff, I would love to hear about that. So leave your comments and make sure you subscribe so you can get some more of this good information. And I will see you in the next video.